Good morning. Good morning. I'm back again, keeping the promises I make to myself by getting up 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning to come and talk to you guys live, like I said I was going to do. But oh man, like I said, I'm going to be keeping it so raw and so real on these lives. Did I want to wake up out of bed and get on this live right now? No, I didn't. I was so tired. And I said to myself, I started to get these thoughts inside of my head. Oh man, why did I promise people that I was gonna wake up every day at 9 a.m. to get on these lives, um, even on the weekend time? I'm like, it's like crazy because I'm so used to waking up at 5 a.m. or 6 o'clock to get my butt up to go to the gym because I love the gym. It's one of like my must do's, must do in the morning time. I find like it's a really, really good stress reliever. But now with quarantine, the gyms are closed down. So it's just like, womp, womp, womp. Now I'm finding it like a little bit more challenging and harder to get up because of the fact that I'm not going outside. I'm not driving. I'm not going to the gym. I don't have to get up at that time because I don't have to get up at that time to go to the gym. But now it's just like I feel like I get up and I'm just like, oh, okay, I have some time. I don't have to get up that extra half an hour, 45 minutes to drive to the gym. So I have extra time and I kind of tell myself it's okay if I to get for me to get back up a little bit later, right? And the whole point of the talk today is all about keeping the promises you make to yourself. I thought that this would have been a great topic to talk about because of the fact of quarantine. There's so many people that are skipping out on the promises they make to themselves because it's quarantine, right? So it's just like we find, and hey, I was one of those, like, I was, well, not was, I still am in some points. But now it's like I'm catching and realizing myself making excuses and not keeping the promise that I make to myself. And this was the perfect example. I was like literally tossing in bed and I was saying to myself, I don't know if I want to wake up right now. And I was debating. I'm like, should I just say I'm sick and just apologize to followers after? But then it comes back to again, right? Keeping the promises you make to yourself. And this is the main reason why I wanted to make this video today about keeping your promises you make to yourself because shit, I was just about to not keep the promises I made to myself freaking what couple minutes ago, right? And we end up playing this idea in our head, like some scenarios in our head on why we shouldn't do it. And it's just crazy because like I feel like when you start really working on your self development and your self love, it's like you'll start hearing these voices in your head saying, no, Tracy, get your ass up, put on your clothes, wash your face, get up and do this now. Like another voice inside of my head was Tracy telling me in my head, Tracy, get up out of your bed. You said that you're going to do this. Get up and go wash your face and get on that camera. Keep the promise that you make to yourself. And I said, and I feel so good that I got up here. I feel so good that I actually did something that I really was debating on doing, which I knew was right. And I knew I should have got up and done because I said I was going to do it. Right. And I feel like the big thing for me about keeping the promises you make to yourself is that it builds momentum. It builds momentum. You get super excited that you're just like, yeah, I did not want to do that, but I actually did do it. Like, especially like for me, the biggest thing is like when you say that, hey, every day you're going to wake up at 6 a.m., right? And hey, maybe like out of 6 days, you didn't wake up out of 6 days, 2 days, you didn't wake up. But then another 4, you woke up and you're just like, I can't believe I did that. I really thought that I could not wake up at 6 a.m. And I did this challenge with some colleagues of mine. And some of them were really shocked that, oh wow, I would have never thought that I could wake up at 6 a.m. But when you challenge yourself, right, and say to myself, oh no, like I'm gonna do this. Like you do keep the promises you make to yourself, even if it's like, let's say 50% of it, and it's something that you thought that you could never do, you build up so much momentum. So what happens is you're going into the following week and you're just like super excited. You're just like, oh man, I did, 4 days out of 6 days. I'm doing so good. And it's like you're building that momentum. And then by little, it ends up turning into, 5 days. Then it goes to 6 days. It's like that momentum's being built and you're getting super excited. And then you start keeping the promise that you make to yourself fully. And it's like that little thought inside of your head says, yeah, no, like wake up. You said you're gonna wake up. You were doing so good. Keep going, and boom, you just fully keep the promises you make to yourself. And I'm just like, it's literally that simple that you start and just think about building that momentum, that excitement. Always think back of that feeling and how you felt. How did it make you feel? And that builds that momentum for you to keep that promise you made to yourself. Because it's exactly, you guys, what I freaking did this morning. When I was laying down in my bed and I was saying, I don't know, I don't really want to get up, I'm tired, all that. No, I actually thought back to myself, like, how did I feel when I seen that first person hop on with me at 9 a.m.? And it made me feel so good. I was like, oh my God, I got somebody watching me. And I got so super excited. And it actually just made my day. I was just like, I got on here and I was telling a lot of people this, you guys, and I'll share it with you guys. Like getting on here and talking to, even if it's one person or two person or three people out there, it makes me feel so good that there's somebody out there that's gonna, hear my advice, hear my motivation, feel my energy of excitement to get in front of other people and talk to them. And it's just so invigorating and exciting. And it kind of like, it's very therapeutic. Tell you guys that much, it's very therapeutic. It's like a lot of people there have a fear of public speaking. And I think that's a really, really big fear of a lot of people is public speaking. And, for me, it's just like, I feel like I learned to really like love myself and just build the momentum, the excitement of keeping the promises I make to myself. So when I say that I'm going to do something, sometimes it scares the shit out of me. If you guys don't think that I don't get scared of talking in front of people, the first time I made I got on this YouTube live, oh my God, my stomach was turning. I was just like, oh my God, what if people are not gonna like it? Again, those thoughts start coming, like flowing into your head if you thinking of other shit. And then it's just like, it challenges you. Are you going to keep the promise that you're going to that you made to yourself? Like I promised myself to do this live, even though I'm feeling nervous, I'm feeling anxiety, I'm feeling scared. Am I going to back out? And who am I hurting? The only person I'm hurting is myself, right? So I know sometimes things are scary, but when you really say to yourself that I promise myself I'm going to do this, no matter how scary it gets, no matter how my stomach feels like I'm going to vomit, or I'm feeling that nervous feeling in my stomach, keep that promise you make to yourself. It is so worth it. They say that everything that is great is on the other side of fear. And when you can, jump over that other side of fear, there's no better feeling, right? It's like, it's pure bliss, right? And I know I can speak on that in regards to this, because I told you already, I was kind of scared, really scared, kind of nervous to get in front of people and talk, because it is live, it's raw. Like there's so many fuck ups you can make. Okay, I don't know if I can swear. I don't know if there's any kids watching this, but there's so much mess ups you can make, especially with it being live. And I think that was the biggest nervous thing for me, because at the end of the day, and there's so many videos that you guys watch out there, you guys, and then they're editing the shit out of that video, right? Like they're stopping, they're editing, they have like maybe like filters and all this other shit. And I'm just like, I'm on here raw, you guys. Like, you guys see my big pimple here, like, so it's a whole different ball game. And I was just so nervous, but I'm so glad that I kept the promise that I made to myself. I hopped on here and I overcame a little bit of fear that I had. There's an amazing Will Smith video, and he goes off and he's just talking about him skydiving, how he was so nervous to jump out of a freaking plane. And oh my God, like who wouldn't be, right? But he just talks about overcoming the fear that, like, majority of things that we want to do in life and we are stopped doing is obviously a lot of the times is because of fear. It's that fear. It's that feeling inside of your gut. And you're just like, oh my God, like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm so scared. Like, it's fear. It's fear that stops you from doing the best things in life. Like, I'll make a perfect example. I think the biggest thing that I was fearful and that was the best thing of my life is when I walked out of my ex. The first time I walked out, I was with him for 10 years. And the first time I walked out of my ex and I picked up myself, I was super scared, single mom, had nowhere to go. Like, no, like I was working a job, yeah, but it was not full time. It was not permanent. Like, that was the most fearful thing, but the most blissful thing. I got peace of mind. I got, I was able to start loving myself, finding myself. So I thought, but it was the best thing that I could ever do, right? But it's very fearful. Like, there's a lot of women that go through years of being with somebody in an abusive relationship and just stay because of that fear. And they get abused, they get lied to, they get cheated on, and they stay. Because why? Fear of the unknown. Fear, are they going to be able to make it? Fear of it going to be like, how's it going to be dealing with being a single mom, and just fear. So the best thing that they can do for themselves is get out, right? And get over that fear. So I think that's a really, really big one for women, my opinion. Yeah, so it's fear, right? It's getting over that fear and then keeping the promise that you make to yourself, right? Sometimes for people, it's just like, again, when keeping the promises you make to yourself, it's that fear, right? Is that fear that kicks in and just feels like, yeah, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Like, again, just so much thoughts come through your head and they just drain your whole thought process of everything else, with all the fear or all the negative thoughts that come through your head and why you shouldn't do it and why it's not worth it. And yeah, but I'm talking real talk with you guys right now. The best thing you guys can do is start building to build momentum and build yourself up, is keeping the promise you make to yourself. And that could be just the littlest things. That could be like, I'll make some examples for you guys. Say that you guys are going to wake up at a certain time, right? Keeping that promise that no matter what, you wake up that time. Working out, right? If you say, you want to work out, even if it's a 15-minute workout, and that's, oh my God, that's another story I'll share with you guys with this quarantine stuff. 15 minutes, work out, do something, right? If you have I hear so many people say they have kids. If you have a kid, take that kid, hold that kid in your hand and squat down to the floor, mommies. Like, find little ways, that you can work out, right? And cheat by doing it. Like, maybe vacuum the floor, take a squat, take a squat. Like, find that way to work out, right? But it's keeping the promises you make to yourself, right? If you say you're going to eat healthy, you're going to drink a bunch of water, right? I hate water, but yeah, I don't hate water, you guys. I just like it a little bit. But keeping the promises you make to yourself, right? By like saying you're going to drink 1 gallon of water a day, right? Again, keeping the promises you make to yourself. So it's like those little things, and those things are not really that hard. Oh, I won't say that because it depends on the person, but it's just starting starting somewhere and starting with something really small and then just building it up, building it up, building it up, building it up. And then as you start doing that, all those small little promises you make to yourself start to compound, right? As like a compounding effect. And then little by little, it's like you start making bigger promises to yourself, and then you're building up, and you're keeping those big promises to yourself, and then it's like a whole different ball game. You literally feel like a whole new person. I have a friend that sometimes you gotta give them tough love. You just gotta give it to them. So I have a friend, a really good friend, and I'm not sure if she's watching or if she will be watching, but she'll know that I'll be talking to her. And one day I went to her house and I just gave it to her straight, and I told her, I said, you got to keep the promises you make to yourself. Like, the only person that you're hurting is you and your kid. So at the end of the day, keep those promises you make to yourself, and they will build up. And I'm just so proud that, when you talk to people, and sometimes you talk to them, it like goes in one ear and comes out the other, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, why did I end up talking to that person? What was the point of giving them advice? No, I'm proud to say I gave this girl advice, and she actually did it, you guys. And she called me up and she told me, like, damn, that was like some harsh facts, harsh reality. Ever since you gave me that, I've been keeping up with working out. I've been reading my book. I've been on top of my business. I manage my schedule, I manage my time. I keep the promises I make to myself. She's killing it on her Instagram. Everything's just booming from personal to business. And that's because, you guys, she kept the promise she made to herself. And she started by the little ones, by personal, then going to business. And then it just built. And then it just also builds confidence as well. Keeping the promises you make to yourself, you guys, also obviously builds confidence. Like, you're just a whole different person. Like, you're confident. You know that you're doing the things, that keeping the promises you make to yourself. You're building the momentum, and you're building confidence, and you're feeling so much more good about yourself, right? And that also practices self-love. Keeping the promises you make to yourself is showing yourself that you love yourself, that you're valuable, that you care about yourself, that you come first. And that's the thing. That's what we need to focus on when we keep the promises that we make to ourselves. Self-love, that it's going to build momentum, right? And I guarantee, I'm promising you guys today, you will feel like a brand new person. You will feel like a brand new person. And I'm like a living, example of that, because I struggled with that. When I came out of like my abusive relationship, it was just like, I didn't want to sleep. Like, I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to do anything. I was, I'm self-employed. I was messing up on some of my appointments. My head wasn't straight. And I didn't have a steady schedule. I wasn't keeping that. I would wake up whatever time, go to sleep whatever time, because I couldn't sleep. Like, I wasn't keeping the promises that I made to myself with anything. And I felt like shit. I went from keeping a great schedule where I was waking up at 5 a.m. I was hitting the gym. I was drinking my water. I was reading my book, reading 10 pages of a good book. This is my routine I'm sharing with you guys. Reading 10 pages of a good book, saying some affirmations, meditating for a half an hour. I had a steady, solid schedule, to now doing jack shit and forgetting all about that. And the only person that had hurt was me. I gained weight. I was bloated. My eyes were droopy, dark underneath. Like, I just felt like, I did not feel good at all. And then what happened is that propelled into my business, right? So it's just like, that's how much of not keeping the promises you make to yourself can affect you. And that's how much that, like, look at me now, right? I'm making a live YouTube video, I'm inspiring other women out there. I have an amazing Instagram motivational page. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. So it's Toronto_Tracy_Gobin. Um, so yeah, and and people look at me and they say, Tracy, like, wow, how did you do it? And that was only 6 months ago. Then I say, like, honestly, I just kept the promises I made to myself. I started to build back up momentum. So ladies out there, whoever's watching this, if you're going through something, start making little promises you make. Like, start keeping little promises to yourself and building the momentum up. Start doing something for you. Start loving you. And once you do that, you're going to build up some momentum and you're going to start with feeling really, really good about yourself. So just keep the promise. I just started to keep the promises I made to myself. It started to build up a lot of confidence, build up excitement, that I started to feel really good about myself. I started working out again. I started just doing my full routine back again, keeping the promises I made to myself. And I haven't stopped since then. It's been 6 months after that breakup situation. And it's been awesome, you guys. As you can see, like, this is like live, you guys. So you guys ain't seeing, there's no makeup on here. I'm not like run down, because that's the next thing people don't realize. Oh my God, I feel like when you don't keep your promise to yourself and you don't have a steady routine, it's like it really runs you down, because you're just all over the place. You're all over the place and you're draining your body, because there's no set schedule, right? There's no set schedule. And it's just like you just don't care, right? When you don't keep any promises to yourself, like eating healthy, working out, like you see, there's a lot of people out there that are just not in shape. They're not healthy. A lot of them lack self-confidence. So again, building up to me, I think having confidence, it goes hand in hand with keeping the promises you make to yourself. So honestly, for me, that's the biggest thing for me. If anybody ever asked me, Tracy, how did you do it? How did you get out of the slum of feeling through like a broken heart and, dealing with your past and all what you've been through? It's just building momentum from keeping the promises I make to myself and showing myself that I'm valuable and that I love myself, right? So, and I already showed you guys some ways on how I kept the promise to myself, is building up my little mornings routine, right? And building it from there, right? And I never want to tell anybody, what to do, but I always like to just use me as an example. So I did give you some examples on what I did to build my momentum and how I keep the promises to myself. And then from there, whoever's listening, you can, take maybe some ideas from what I just shared and then utilize it for yourself, right? Utilize it for yourself and see how it goes. If not, find what works best for you. But at the end of the day, start somewhere. Start today. It is the weekend time. And I feel like the weekend time, there's a lot of people that throw in the towel. There's a lot of people that throw in the towel, and then picture it this way. This is how I look at the weekends, right? Because I'm self-employed, this is how I look at it. But even when I was, employed, I would still look at it this way too. Because I'm like, look at it, there's 7 days, like, in the week, right? So let's say that's 7 days inside of your life, right? If we narrow down and focus on that, right? So if you're, there's a lot of people out there that work a 9 to 5, or even I've seen it before, a lot of self-employed people, they're 5 days because they still have this 9 to 5 mentality, right? And they become self-employed. So there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So a lot of the times people work really, really hard through these weeks. And then there's, after they come home from Friday, there's Friday night, and then there's Saturday and there's Sunday. And then they literally do nothing, zero, nada, nothing. Some people drink until they can't drink no more, wake up next day feeling super hangover, feeling like shit, feeling like, like their body feels like crap, and then they don't do nothing. And I can say this because I was one of these people. So, and you don't do nothing. You feel like shit the next day. You lay down on your couch, you watch Netflix all day, you munch out unhealthy food. You don't want to do nothing. You give your kids their iPad or something like that, and you just don't want to do nothing. So there's so many people that actually throw away about like 2 days out of their life just doing nothing when they could have been doing something to show themselves that, hey, I really do love you, right? I do love you. I'm going to keep the promises I make to you, even though it's Saturday and Sunday. I'm still going to keep the promises I make to yourself. I'm still going to make that I made to myself because I love myself. I'm still going to get up and get that workout in. I'm still going to make sure I drink that water. I'm still going to make sure I read my book. I'm still going to make sure I stretch, I meditate, whatever it is, right? There's a lot of people that just keep their promises that they make to themselves from a Monday to Friday. And I'm like, what's the point of that? What happens to Saturday and Sunday? Something happen? Did you just pass away or reawoken on Monday? So it's, again, when you decide to keep the promises you make to yourself, it's every day, you guys. It's not just Monday to Friday. It's every freaking day. There's not a cutoff time. It's just you building a routine to show yourself that you love yourself and you keep the promises you make to yourself on a daily basis, not Monday to Friday, on a daily basis. So honestly, again, that's what's really helped me a lot. With practicing self-love, right? Is keeping the promises I make to myself on a daily basis, not Monday to Friday, daily basis. So with that being said, you guys, I hope that you guys got a lot of value on this 9 a.m. talk. I thank you guys so much for getting up with me and being on this live with me. I hope that I brought some great energy to you guys to pump you up and start your morning right on this amazing Sunday. Don't throw the towel in. Don't be like those people that do nothing all day today. I hope you find value in this live and you take something from it to take and implement into your life today. And then, build the momentum in for the rest of the weeks. Maybe sit down. On Sundays, I like to do a little bit of a reflection. I like to take an hour to reflect on, how my past week went and how can I be better next week, right? And then and then keep track on the promises I made to myself and how can I get better next week. So I hope that, what my talk and what I just talked to you about helps you in some sort of way. Maybe take some time today to reflect and say to yourself, hey, am I showing myself self-love? Hey, am I keeping the promises that I'm making to myself? If not, okay, great. How can I course correct? Because that's one big thing I learned, you guys. It's okay to course correct. If you didn't do something, don't beat yourself up about it. I assure you guys that it's just digging yourself down in a deeper hole. Keep this in mind, you guys. I'm going to leave off as this. Every day is a new chapter. Every day is a new chapter that you hold the pen to write every day. You decide what characters are going to be in that chapter. You decide that location. You decide. You hold the pen to write out your chapter. So every day is a new chapter. Don't drag along what happened in the past and what you have no control over and you can't change. Whatever it is, if it's something to do with yourself, forgive yourself. I forgive me and it's okay. I'm gonna reflect, right? And I'm gonna course correct and I'm gonna see what I can do going forward for the following week. I really hope that, all this that I talked about helped you guys in some sort of way. Thank you again for joining me at 9 a.m. And please, maybe make a comment and share this YouTube channel. If you're watching it, that means it's valuable enough for you to stay on for half an hour to be with me. Then it's valuable enough to share it. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I hope you guys have the amazing rest of Sunday. Spend lots of time with family, but at the same time, do some reflection for yourself and see where you can build up some momentum by keeping the promises you make to yourself. Thanks so much, you guys. Take care.